I'm Ty Hernandez.
And I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents.
Bishop DiMarzio will undergo major heart surgery next week, and he joins us to talk about it.
For more insight, we asked the doctor, our own Stephen Garner.
And really, you begin to get symptoms of sweating or chest pain as you exercise. And it's something that, it's a difference. You never noticed it before.
And she's been on Broadway, Ed Sullivan and Arthur Godfrey, and now she's on Currents as our eyewitness.
It was built on a lot of fear. Your fear of God, fear of sin.
Thanks for joining us. Late yesterday, the diocese announced that Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio will undergo heart bypass surgery next week.
I had the chance to speak with him for an exclusive interview. Bishop DiMarzio, we want to welcome you back.
Good to be here again.
It seems, and it really has been just so very recently, that you were here. So we want to know, when did you find out? By all appearances, you've kept such a busy schedule. Has it slowed you down at all?
Well, it hasn't slowed me down yet. I did find out that I had to have open heart surgery just last week. My regular medical exams indicated something a little bit irregular on the cardiogram, and then we just went up the scale of all the different diagnostic tools they had. I had a thallium stress test, and then a CT scan, and finally angioplasty last week. Angioplasty is when they put the instrument into, well, actually they do it in the arm, and it goes into your heart. It's like a camera, so they see where the blockages are.
So what is the exact procedure you'll be having?
Well, I have four blockages, but because I'm kind of young, still a little bit young,
okay,
they don't do the stents. There's too many stents. So I have open heart surgery, where they would then do cardiac bypass. So
is this a quadruple?
Quadruple bypass, most probably. Certainly 3, possibly 4 bypasses, and they would take veins from different parts of the body that are open to that, and then they sew them in, actually.
Amazing.
I don't know how exactly it happens, but they're able to do it. It's kind of.
What were your symptoms? Did you have any?
I had no symptoms, really. So I was asymptomatic, and have pretty good exercise regime every day, and my cholesterol is very low, 140. So it just happens to be, you need to have good checkups.
Yeah. Any family history?
Yes, my brother, who's about 1.5 years younger than me, just 3 months ago had a stent put in one of the same locations I have a blockage. So it most probably is genetic or hereditary.
You seem to be very calm and relaxed about this.
Well, I guess you have to have faith in God and the doctors and keep going.
One of the things about this particular procedure is the recovery is very long. So who takes care of the day-to-day operation at the diocese while you're
Bishop
recuperating?
Caggiano is the Vicar General, so he would be able in the day-to-day operations. And of course today, telephones, emails, and other things. I won't be that far away. Any major decisions, I'm sure I'll be able to do it. But it came probably at a good time this summer. It's a little quieter, not too much, but somewhat quieter. So there's less meetings, and so probably we'll be by midsummer probably back in shape again.
All right. Now, people must come to you all the time in times of their own need, in times of their own illness or crisis, and they may ask questions like, why me? Why is this happening? Have you yourself found yourself asking these questions?
Well, never quite that way. I think recognizing that the body is human and it only lasts so long. Today, thank God, with medical science and the advances they made, they can kind of piece this together. It'll last a little bit longer. So you have to look at it that way and look at life, and certainly be thankful to God for life as it is. You probably, whenever you face major surgery like this, you become more thankful for the life you have, and you pray that you can continue, especially the service I am in the diocese.
Well, listen, on a lighter note, we want to know, does your surgeon know who he's operating on?
I think he met me, and he knows who I am.
He might be a little nervous.
No, probably not. I think he's a pretty much expert surgeon and does these quite frequently, which is a good sign. So I don't think he's to be too nervous about that.
Sitting next to you here, you are a strong man. Are you the type to follow doctor's orders?
Well, I'm going to have to bend my will a bit to listen.
Right, slow down, they probably tell you. Are you going to be able to slow down?
Well, I don't know how much slowing down I have to do, but if I have to, I have to.
All right, well, Bishop DiMarzio, as you can imagine, everyone is wishing you all the best here at Currents and at NET.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you for joining
the
us.
wishes and ask for your prayers.
Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio, and of course, we'll keep you posted on his health in the days ahead.
Well, about 500,000 people a year undergo this procedure, making it the most frequently performed major surgery in the country. But just what is heart bypass surgery? Just ahead, I'll ask the doctor. Our very own Stephen Garner will give us his perspective on major heart surgery.
Welcome back. As we've reported, Bishop DiMarzio will undergo major heart surgery next week.
We wanted to get some perspective on what that entails. So earlier today, I spoke with our own resident medical expert. A little bit more about heart surgery, specifically heart bypass surgery. We're joined now by Dr. Stephen Garner, who is the host of Ask the Doctor right here on NET. Doctor, we appreciate you joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Just to start off with, you are not Bishop DiMarzio's doctor,
No.
correct? You just obviously have an expertise in this field and are here to tell us just a bit more about exactly what bypass surgery is.
And I'm sure people are wondering, how did he know he needed open heart surgery? And really, you begin to get symptoms of sweating or chest pain as you exercise. And it's something that, it's a difference. You never noticed it before. You may feel depressed, very tired. These are things that would get you to go in to see the doctor. And what he would do is, he would do an angiogram to look at the vessels of the heart. And I brought a model of the heart. And the red vessels are the arteries. And what they do is they bring oxygen and nourishment to the muscle of the heart. As they get narrowed because of plaque buildup, it gets less and less blood supply and oxygen to the muscle, and you begin to get chest pain initially, and then you can get a heart attack, which is when the muscle dies altogether. Absolutely. It's a very tricky, it's a very safe procedure. I mean, if it's done in good hands, and that's the key. You want to go to a place where they're doing a lot of these, because the mortality, in other words, the number of people that would die from a procedure would be less than 1%, which is amazing. When you actually take a saw and you cut down the center of the chest, the sternum, the breastbone. That's the worst part for pain. People complain about that for months. But when you consider what you're doing, that you're prolonging your life, it's pain you can put up with. So you cut down the center of the chest and you actually expose the heart beating. You put someone on a heart-lung machine, which does the breathing and it does the heart pumping for that person. And if it's not pumping, the doctor can then operate. You can imagine how hard, if the heart's pumping like this and he's trying to cut or to sew, it's not a good thing.
You can have the steadiest hand in the world, but if the heart's moving around itself, it'll be a problem.
Right. So I have an example actually. The black is the blood vessel. And this is the way it should normally look. This is how wide it should be. If you look at this area, it got very narrow. And this is due to cholesterol buildup and fat buildup. And the person was having chest pain, and he couldn't exercise like he used to. And what we'll do is we'll bypass this area, basically taking a vein or a synthetic substance, like a tubular structure, and go from this part of the heart to this part of the heart, which means that instead of going down and around, the blood now goes like this and bypasses the area. And this is the name.
Hence the name, bypass surgery.
Makes sense.
Right.
So,
my dad actually had bypass surgery a few years ago, had a heart attack, and had to have triple bypass. There were maybe, looking back on it, maybe a few signs, fatigue, things like that you spoke of. But really, I mean, there were no signs or symptoms to speak of at that point until he had the heart attack.
Right, and did he have any history of heart attack?
Actually, yes, my grandmother, his mom had a massive heart attack several years before as well.
So if you've had family members who've had it, if you have high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, these are risk factors, and this should tip you off that I better watch out. If I'm starting to get chest pain or I can't exercise as much as I used to, or I'm feeling very fatigued, this is a problem. And now you can get in a CAT scan in 10 seconds can show the entire blood supply of the heart. 10 seconds.
That's amazing. And the procedure itself has come a long way, I think, as well as far as recovery. Recovery's still not maybe the easiest thing in the world from this particular procedure, but it has come a long way.
Should be out of the hospital in a week. The pain should really go away from the chest in about 5 to 6 months, and you should be back at work in a month to 2 months. I know Many people can do that. Again, each body is different, so I can't comment on specifics, but
Absolutely.
depends upon how much sick time you have.
Right, that's right. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for being here and explaining a little bit more about this to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was Dr. Steve Garner with our own Matt here. Stay tuned. When Currents returns, we'll have more of today's news.
And she's performed for presidents. Now she talks to us.
It can be a blessing, maybe meeting someone who's down or sick, and chat to them and have them laughing in a few minutes.
Welcome back to Currents. Turning to today's headlines now, the swine flu virus that resulted in the closing of 4 schools in the Brooklyn Diocese is now officially a pandemic. The World Health Organization says the H1N1 virus has now spread to 74 countries. It says the flu is not any more dangerous, just more widespread. 8 people in New York City have died from the flu.
Another issue of global concern is migration. So say bishops from North and South America, and they want governments to take a closer look at that issue. The bishops say, quote, "We're at a pivotal moment in the history of migration and immediate action is needed." They say governments need to look at the major causes of migration, the economic crisis, and human trafficking.
Work is a vocation. That is the theme of a new documentary to be released by the U.S. Bishops Conference titled Callings. The film features a Major League ball player, a social worker, a marine biologist, and 7 others. They talk about how their work is more of a religious calling than a job.
2 thumbs up. That's the Denver Archbishop Charles Chaput's opinion of Jim Caviezel's latest movie. Caviezel is best known as the star of The Passion of the Christ. In his new movie, The Stoning of Soraya M., an Iranian woman is accused falsely of infidelity and faces execution. Chaput wrote in his weekly column that the movie shows the differences between Christianity and Islam, as he says, without criticizing the Muslim faith.
And in Rome, visitors can now see the foundations of Christianity, literally, as we hear from the news service Rome reports.
For the first time, one of the oldest basilicas in Rome is opening its underground doors to the public. Santa Maria Maggiore, or Saint Mary Major, is built on top of layers of pre-Christian history.
You can see everything that existed before the construction of the basilica, and how the construction of the basilica didn't destroy anything below. Everything remained conserved underneath.
Monsignor Michel Dagos led the first public tour of the basilica's underground, before only open for students and special tours. For hundreds of years, Santa Maria Maggiore has preserved pieces of history trapped in time underneath its floors. Today, it acts as a time machine, giving clues as to how people lived before the arrival of Christianity.
You can imagine how life was here on the Esquilino, one of the hills of Rome, mainly in Cispio. That's what this part of the Esquilino was called, where we are now, and Pope Sixtus III built this basilica.
The basilica was built on what used to be a private residence, dating back to the year 332 BC. Over the years, it evolved until the years of Christianity, but it still harbors key historical clues that survive time, like this ancient Roman calendar, for example, depicting the month of September with pictures of agriculture and crops painted on a wall. It's likely that the owner of the home was a nature enthusiast from the middle class. St. Mary Major is also the resting place of popes and cardinals. Artist Gian Lorenzo Bernini is also buried here. Built around the 5th century AD, the basilica is one of the 4 papal basilicas in Rome. It's famous for its rich history both above and underground.
And there is much more ahead, so stay with us.
Finally tonight, it all started with Arthur Godfreys Talent Scouts. Entertainer Carmel Quinn won a contest and became a regular on Godfrey's show for 9 years. From there, she appeared on The Today Show, The Tonight Show, Merv Griffin, Dick Cavett, and Regis and Kathy Lee.
Along the way, she starred on Broadway and has been playing a sold-out St. Patrick's Day show at Carnegie Hall for more than 25 years. Tonight, this Irish immigrant is our eyewitness.
You don't preach. I don't preach to people. I'll tell them my end of it, you know, and maybe bit by bit, little rubs off. I would say to my father, he wanted me to be a teacher, and I have a great respect for a good teacher. I love teachers, but I didn't want to be one. I wanted to sing. It was what I loved. My sister, she would come and help me with my dress and iron it. Then she'd come down to where I'd be singing and bring holy water and drench me. I'd say, my hair, you're ruining it. That was before every show. Even today, I have it. And sings my song, my Savior God to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. My faith was a very strange faith, because first as a child, you know, in Ireland, it was built on a lot of fear. Your fear of God, fear of sin. And when I went to London with a big band, I didn't have to go to Mass. But funny enough, I went. And the orchestra would be held up on Sunday mornings, and I had a job in England to find a Catholic church. I would come back onto our big touring bus, everyone's sitting there. I had every reason not to go. I was embarrassed. I was being glared at. My faith got stronger as I got older. A different kind of faith. Instead of fearing God, it was I saw a loving God.
I did not behave well as a child in Mass. Well, first of all, it was in Latin. I would tell my sister and all our friends what he was saying. He would say, Nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sanctus, so on, and I'd say, he says we're going on a picnic.
In the long run, there is nothing like faith in God, and nothing like what our religion brings to us, to be decent, kind. You can be a blessing, maybe meeting someone who's down or sick, and chat to them and have them laughing in a few minutes. It's a blessing. I love it when I'm out there with the audience. Everybody's enjoying, hopefully, little holy water needed.
Entertainer Carmel Quinn there, and someone who's been at it for a long time, still making people laugh.
Absolutely. You know, she's known as a singer, but she is quite the storyteller as well. I was riveted to her story. The tour bus, very colorful, vivid imagery there.
Absolutely, and a great voice.
Indeed. All right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, coming up tomorrow, how is the recession hitting Brooklyn? We'll hear from the local director of a local food pantry. That's all for this edition of Currents. Remember, you can watch us online at netny.net. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Ty Hernandez. Have a great one.